Hey y'all, this is the Butcher, and today's video we're going to take a look at can we use the Onn Box Pro to emulate emulated games? Can we play our retro games on this inexpensive device? Spoiler alert, I'll go ahead and say yes, we can. We can play quite a few games, systems on this thing, and I'm going to show you how to do it. One of the easier ways to do it, we're going to take a look at. It's not the cheapest way. I will give you hints on the cheapest way, but the easiest way how to emulate games on this Onn box. I will be using a wireless controller, and this is a little cheap Chinese knockoff that I've had for years, so we're using that. We're also going to be using a USB drive. We could store games on here, but you're limited to that 20-ish gigs of free space. So it's just easier if we go with a USB, gives us more flexibility. If we wanted to go in with a larger USB, that's also an option. So I think most people would probably prefer to put it on a USB to instead of clogging up the device's hard drive space, unless you only want to play one or two games. So that is another option. Optional is if you want to use a wired controller, you'll need to get a USB hub since the Onn box only has one USB port. If you're wanting to use a corded controller with a cord, you could use it and plug it into this, and then you would actually plug the USB and your wired controller into this, and then this into the Onn box. So that is an option. So I'll just throw that out there if in case people want to ask questions on that. So let's take a look at what websites and what things to. All right, I have put the USB drive into the device, and let's go ahead and we need to format that drive. So we're going to go down here to System, go to Storage, the USB drive, and we're going to delete and format as removable storage. Now we could use this as internal storage per se, but I find that that's sometimes a little bit dangerous because if you have a failure with your USB drive or sometimes updates can screw that up. I know that in the Shield it did that. So let's just leave it as a removable storage. The Onn box will work just fine without the USB installed in it. We can take it in or out. That's why I prefer the removable storage option. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to go ahead and go with it. So it's going to go through and do its format so that it is formatted, and it's done. It's ready to go. So now it's checking the USB drive. And it looks like everything is just fine. And oh, you can see it added it down here as a removable storage. So I would highly suggest doing it that way. But again, that's your device. You can use it as internal storage if you'd like. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to download an application. We're going to put Retrox on this. The benefits of Retrox is that is a multi-emulator. It's a multi-emulator. It's an all-in-one. It will run anything from Atari 2600 all the way up. On some systems, can run all the way up to PSP, PS1 without a problem. Saturn. Dreamcast, all those things can run on this this application. You could go another route, is if you're only going to play PlayStation games, or you're only going to play well, spoiler alert, PSP does very poorly with this system. So if you were going to do PS1, or if you're only going to play Genesis or Nintendo, you can install just the one emulator to play, and we don't have to go through Retrox. But I want to do it to where I'm able to play multiple games on it. So that's the reason why I'm going to show you how to do it through Retrox on here. So we're going to open up Downloader now. I have it installed already. Released, and it's a brilliant application. I use it on my Shields. I've used it on Raspberry Pis. And I just like that it's very simple. So you'd go down here, you're going to download it for free. When we get to the logging in, signing in, that's where it will give you the trial, or you can log in with your credentials. All right, and then we would do for Android. As well, it would have said install, but I had already clicked it. So, and we'll go ahead and we want to do one more step. Which view do you want? It's up to you. I'm going to go with this view right here, the Android TV. Right, I clicked to log in under with the credentials, my Google credentials that I already had on this device. And now one of the things it's going to do is ask for permissions. It does need to grant some permissions for to be able to use storage and stuff. And this is part of Android stuff. I want this. So I'm going to tell it all, because if you do media, games aren't media files, so you won't be able to see them. So we want to do that. And then we'll hit back. It doesn't really need your contact. All right, you can see it's running through scanning for the different games that I may have on this system. Now it's only got, there is 2 games that it's showing that's that showed earlier, but that was stuff that I had dropped on the hard drive. I've now removed those. One was a PlayStation, one was a PSP game. So, so here we get to the set, add some games. All right, we need to add some games because we don't have any. And I'll tell you, this is what I'm going to do first. We're going to hit back, go here to manage games, and we're going to do manage folders. And I'm going to choose the external drive. That is this one down here at the bottom. This would be your internal, but I want to go to this one. Right, that, and we're going to want to create the folders. And what this is going to do is create the folders so that we can drop the ROMs right into the folder to make it easy for us. And now all of the folders are made. Now again, I have no games on here so far, so let's go ahead and do that next. All right, what I did was I ejected the USB drive out of the Onn box. You need to go into the settings, and you'll see the USB drive. Make sure to eject it. You don't want it writing to the USB when you pull it out. So if you eject it, then everything will be fine. So now this is our USB drive right here. In here, we'll see that there's a Retrox folder. Double click that, and you can see all of the folders for all the different systems that this Retrox supports. So you can see there's a lot in there. This is one of my external drives. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab just a few games. So this is 5200. Drop that there. Going down the list, we go to Dreamcast. It's DC here. Oops. Yeah. We'll go ahead and drop. We'll drop Soul Calibur in there. Pause this for a second while it transfers. So basically, any system we see in here, we can drag and drop things over. You can look through here. Commodore 64, Atari, Atari ST, I think it was a handheld system, Game Gear, Final Burn Alpha, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Genesis, Jaguar, Linux, MAME. Well, when you put MAME games in here, one of the things you need to know is which version you have. It will make it easier for when you're running emulation if you know which version it is. Nintendo 64, NES, PSP, PlayStation, on down. So you can see a number of systems, and it's just drag and drop. Like let's grab just show you one more, and then I will just jump over here. So Sega Genesis, I think it's this one here. Drag, drop, done. The biggest thing is making sure that's the right extension. So it depends on where you downloaded your ROMs from or where you got your ROMs. That could be an issue. So I'll pause it for a second. Let's go and back to the system. Let's see. So we're back in here. Let's go ahead and open Retrox again. All right. We don't need that. So what I want to do is go in here to manage games, because we have added games, right? So we're going to tell it to force to scan, and it's going to go through and scan all the systems that is offered. You could, if you only put 3DO games in that folder, you could scan just that particular folder. But since we have games from all different folders, okay. So now it's grabbing the art for the different games that it said, or that it noticed that I had. There we go. It's got different recently played, your favorites. So since it's my login, there are certain games that I play a lot of, and you can see these are some of the ones that I've played more than others. So it does have my favorites. That is nice thing. It has a cloud save where you can actually cloud save in a particular space or place where you are on the game. So we're going to launch DigDug. This is where we can add things as a favorite. We can also do some edits to the emulator itself. So if you find that there's some things you need to change, you can do it there. Go ahead and all right, now since I've not played on this system, it needs to download the emulator. So right now it's grabbing an emulator that it needs for this particular game. You only need to download it one time for this system. Each system has its own little thing. So this is one of the places I'm going to want to give permissions to Retrox. So I'm going to want to give it permissions to basically install stuff. I need to be able to tell it that yes, it's okay to install. And it's installing the multi-emulator add-on. Let's say done. Back up, takes us right back here. Each time you, like I was saying, each time you install or play a game for the first time, it will need to download the emulator, which you can see takes just a few seconds. And here you go. This is DigDug playing just fine. Coins are the select button. Start is the start is the start button. So hit that. There we go. So you can see playing just fine. Start and select at the same time takes us out of here, or brings us to this menu where we're able to quit. Again, we could save this exact spot. Retrox offers cloud save, so I could actually save this and at this place, and then if I have Retrox set up on another device, I could go and start this exact place where I am on this game on another device, or even on this device. So those cloud saves are very cool, and you can save right from your so arcade games to any consoles. So let's do this. Tekken 3 now with PSX PlayStation. It's having an issue with Android 12, which that's what Onn Box is running. So the developer is going to be taking a look at that. We can play it on a third party, which I think I had EPSXE was on the front screen. It will run. But let's go ahead and just take a look at Daytona. This is under Sega Saturn. Here again, we need to install the emulator, which that's not a big deal. the select button, and this will let me go into select a system. Now I only have a few games on here, so let's we can go into MAME. This would be all the MAME games that I have. Whoops. All the MAME games I have on here. So we can try a little Donkey Kong action. Back out of that so you can see that it's working.
Welcome to Mario Kart! Mario Grand Prix. Select your player. Select match.
See, playing just fine, no issues. Pretty smooth playing. Pretty smooth. So, Nintendo 64 playing. See, I think, did I throw a Nintendo? Yep, threw a Nintendo in here. You know, I'm not going to go into that one because you know that one's going to run. What about Dreamcast? So that's going to be one of the harder systems to run. So Crazy Taxi. Let's see if this runs.
Hey, it's party time! Alright, let's go make some crazy money.
Let's see how this plays. Now I can hear a little bit of stuttering in the audio, but not too bad. So plays just the audio was just a little bit choppy. I could hear a little bit of choppiness in the audio itself, but nothing serious. Again, that's how we can play all those different systems. And I did, like I said, right at this moment, the PlayStation on the Android 12 is not working through Retrox. The developer is working on fixing that problem. It works on my Shield and all the other systems. It does, for some reason, on the Onn Box, it is having a problem. But if we wanted to, we could go in and play it as a standalone emulator, and we could go in there and play that way. PSP does not play very well at all. I tried some of the heavier games, the Midnight Club. I also tried some God of War, and those were not playable. They were very choppy again, but we're talking about a $50 device here, so we can't be expecting it to play everything on this device. We're talking super budget. So if you're wanting to get a budget device and you have an Onn Box, $50 with it, get a USB drive. You're able to put your games on that. If you have a few games that you want to play, you could just put them directly on there. But this has lots of options. Again, if you look up do some searching for Android emulators. If you're only interested in playing Nintendo, you can find a Nintendo emulator and you can save yourself from having to pay for Retrox. You can just play the Nintendo emulator. But again, the benefit of Retrox is it plays all of those games. It plays the library of consoles that it plays is quite large, as well as the cloud saves. That is always nice. And then the other thing I didn't show was the bezels. So let me show you that just for a second. Okay, I went into the settings, and I'm going to go down here to border, and I went here and I turned on, because I think it's on static background, I went to bezels, and this is per game, so I could do it by per game or per system, but I like to do it per game. So let's just go to Crazy Taxi real quick. Oop. And we're going to see what that looks like. See how it looks a little bit different. And there you go. It added the bezels on the side. So instead of it being black, you're able to see that. So that's the bezel project. So hopefully that makes some sense to you guys. And hopefully this video can help you decide if you want to be able to play some games on your Onn box if you have one sitting around. So talk to you later.